So we are here with Coach Tim Stowe, the head coach for the Skidmore Tynan Lady Cats basketball team. Coach, right now the record looks good, 25-7, and we are 10-2
Yes, sir.
in district with 2 to go, and we're heading into the playoffs. So I want to kind of just talk about the playoffs and a lot of emotional, mental, physical type aspects that I want to ask you. So, Coach, the first thing that I want to talk about, you do such a great job with the rotation. I'm always commenting that you seem to get just the right amount of rotation. You get the starters in there, and then you mix them in with some of the bench players and such. So my question, Coach, talk about your rotation. Is it set game to game, or are there adjustments depending on the opponent or the score?
Oh, that's a good question. No, it's pretty much every game we have a general idea of how we want to rotate players to make sure that our top five get rest throughout the game and we don't turn a marathon into a sprint and burn them out too early. But, we have to adjust it game to game based on the way the game is going and the flow of the game and what the other team is doing or not doing.
Absolutely. You're doing a great job doing that. So whatever it is, keep it going. So, Coach, what affects? Well, let me get that right. There's two types of effects. Effects. What affects whether you full court press, half court press, or don't press?
Yeah, no, so that's a great question. So for sure, the first thing that affects it is who we're playing and what type of guards they have. If they have guards that can handle our type of pressure very well, and we're not getting any benefit out of pressing, then we'll pull out and we'll just play half court man and conserve some defensive energy and then look to execute on offense. If it's a team that struggles with pressure, then we want to try to get easy baskets out of the press. And so we'll press as long as it takes to put the game away. And then we'll pull out of the press and work on other things. Throughout the game, though, sometimes we want to press to wear down the other team. Sometimes we want to press to maintain an offensive edge. There's times where my teams will fall into a lull, and it's almost like our energy has dropped. And so sometimes jumping back into a press is a good way to get the energy back up. So sometimes we'll jump back into a press just to help with the energy. But I'd say the biggest reason why we press is the first thing is to force turnovers and try to get easy baskets. The second thing is to wear down teams. So when we get in the critical fourth quarter, we want their brain to be as hazy as possible because a busy brain is slow feet. And so if we were able to wear them out for 3 quarters and we're making them really think in the fourth quarter, then we feel like we have an advantage.
And I won't mention any teams, but to add to that, Coach, I do notice that sometimes the opponent does wear it down toward the end, and you don't see them coming back up court as quickly, or if they even do.
Right.
So that is a good point on the press. How do you plan for the remainder of the season, knowing that we're heading to the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you handle it?
Well, we just kind of treat it like the next phase of the season. So when the season started, we talked about how we have a preseason, where we have our early season games, we have our tournaments, and in that phase of the season, we're really playing everybody almost equal minutes, trying to just get everybody as much experience as possible. Fail as much as we need to early so that we have experience for when it really matters, which is district. So sometimes we'll take some losses early in the season, but that's all in an effort just to build experience for the main part of the season, which is district. When we get to district, our practices change a little bit. Our preparation day before games change a little bit from the first third of the season to the middle third. And we really just hone in on doing what it takes to win that next game. So, we play on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we'll do our skills, our shooting, and our transition work. And then on Thursday, we're only getting ready for Friday. And then on Saturday, we do our skills, our shooting, our transition. And on Monday, we're only getting ready for Tuesday. So through the middle third of the season, that's how it looks. When you get to the playoffs, it changes a little bit because your JV team has now moved on to softball or track. So you're really narrowed down to the amount of players you have. Your scrimmaging looks a little different because of that. And so really at that point in the season, it's just all about staying sharp, knowing what you're doing, because we're not adding a whole lot at that point in the season. We want to be really good at what we've been doing and been working on. And so we want to iron out any bugs, film study, and then it's just game prep for that first round opponent.
Well, this next question kind of maybe is if I can use the word antithesis, maybe I'm using it incorrectly, but you have to somehow motivate sometimes. Players can get complacent, and you talked a little bit about that. But now let me ask you this. How do you plan for a rematch, such as tonight, and beyond that, one in which we lost the first matchup?
Yeah. So basically the question is, how do we approach this game knowing that we lost?
How do you bounce back?
I bounce back?
Absolutely.
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to know where you came from, right? In order to know where you're going, you have to know where you came from. And so we have to go back and we have to rewatch that old film, and you have to sit through it, and you have to suffer through watching those missed layups and missed free throws and all the little mistakes you make that go, man, this is why we lost the game. But you go back and revisit it, and you just come up with a plan of, okay, why did we lose the game? What do we need to do differently this time? And then just present it to the players. And, being here in Skidmore, we have such smart girls, but also just good girls. They're just willing to learn. They want to be coached. They want to be great. And they'll do anything I ask them to do. So it's really not hard at all. I just lay out the facts for them. And once they know why we're doing what we're doing, they're all in and on board.
Well, maybe you answered the next question. What strategies do you use to keep the team focused and humble? You called them great, and I agree with you 100%. I love the team. How do you keep them humble, perhaps after a win?
Well, I think it helps that we've had a few games that we've won lately where we've struggled a little bit, where we probably shouldn't have, maybe we win by 11 points and we should have won by, or we feel like we should have won by more. So those things humble us in different ways. But also, I hate to just pass it back on, but we have really good girls that have really good parents, and the parents have them grounded. My job's very easy. I get to just do basketball with them, and they're just grounded young women, so they already have that aspect.
So how do you manage, and there's three areas, the mental, the emotional, and the physical fatigue as we head into the playoffs? Those three: mental, the emotional, and the physical fatigue.
Well, we talk about staying tough all the way through the season, and we've said it several times, but it's more of a theme late in the season. Is you can be tired in the fight, but you can't be tired of the fight. And so
that's good.
We come to practice, and you can tell that they're tired from the game the night before. They're tired from the weight room earlier in the day. Some of them have been going with volleyball and cross country since the summer, and then they rolled right into basketball, and there's not been any real break for them. So they are physically tired at this point in the year. And as long as they can remember that the fight is important, then they're willing to push through their fatigue. And then I try to manage it in practice. Our practices now aren't quite as long as they were 2 months ago, just being at a different point in the season. So we try to manage what they're doing in practice and in the weight room as well.
So how has your team's culture evolved throughout the season to prepare them for this moment? I look at it sometimes from the perspective of, my goodness, this player right here is improved in the rebounding. This player right here has just grown as a leader. So how would you answer that? The team's culture, how has it evolved throughout the season?
Yeah, no, you're right. We talk about it as a team. If we go back and watch our first game or first week of games, and we watch us now, we look like a totally different team. But that's the plan, right? So when the very first practice they came out, when they got done with volleyball, and we finally had everybody together, the very first thing we said is, we don't have to we don't have to play like a playoff team right now. We just have to get 1% better every day. And, by the time we get 50, 60, 70 practices in, and we have 30, 35 games in, we're going to be really good. But we have to stay motivated to just get a little bit better every single day. So the philosophy or the culture is every day they show up to work, and there's no days off. There's no day where they come in and we just play knockout or shoot around. They come in and they get to work. And the reason why is so that we can be really good for district and the playoffs. And with these girls, if they know why we're doing something, they will do it as hard as they can for me. So I just try to keep the why out in front of them.
Once again, you seem to be reading my mind or my notes here. So, Coach, what is the most important message that you want to impart to your team at the start of the playoffs?
That the hay is in the barn. What we've done all season has prepared them for this moment, so they're ready. All they have to do is use the tools that's in their tool bag. The opponents are different. The pressure is a little bit different, but what they have is what they've been working on all season, and they're ready. And so at this point in the season, it's just about reinforcing that confidence within them that they're a good team. They can be a great team, and they just have to use the tools that's in their tool bag.
Absolutely. Winding down, Coach. We got a couple more. The second to the last one is a little tougher, and then the last one is more heartfelt. And that is, can you describe a time when that your team faced significant adversity during the season, and how did you guide them to overcome it? This one may require a little thought. The heartbreak. How do you overcome that heartbreak?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we've had some tough losses during the season. You know, we lost a tough one at home to Sinton before the playoffs start or before district started, and the girls bounced back from that really well. We lost a tough one on the road at Pettis. We lost a tough one on the road at Yorktown. So we have had adversity. What was the question exactly?
So what did you do to overcome that?
Okay. Well, it's really just reinforcing to them that it's a process. We have to fall in love with the process of what it takes to win, and not just the end result of winning. Obviously, we want to win. They all want to win. Why play the game if you don't want to win? They all want to win. But at the end of the day, as long as they're trying their hardest to win and they're working their hardest to win, then you can hold your head up high and move on. I'm not big on dwelling in the past. And as the leader of the team, we have to learn from our mistakes, learn from our losses, learn from the adversity, but we also have to shake it off and move on. And we have to do that quickly because we have a game in 3 days, right? We play 2 games a week. You can't waller in your misery for very long. You have to dust it off and move on. And so the way I approach it as the leader of the team is that next practice after a tough loss, I come in and I try to give everybody a positive touch, and I try to have a real moment with each girl, maybe tell them something positive that they did. But we really try to focus on what's it going to take to bounce back. And I always tell Kagan Mormon, there's 2 people in this gym that can't have a bad practice, and that's the head coach and the point guard. Right. And so whether you feel like it or not, whether I feel like it or not, we have to bring it every day because everybody else is relying on us.
Absolutely. So, Coach, what do you love about this game, but more specifically about this team?
So I love the game because it's high intensity, it's physical. It takes a balance of finesse and toughness to win, and so I really like that. I like this team because they're in the locker room in here we have on the wall PGP, which stands for Professional Great Person. And so our team is full of people who are just professional great people. And so, they make practice fun. I don't ever have to get on to them for talking ugly to each other or saying anything inappropriate or pouting. Like, those are battles I don't have to fight. We can just focus on hoops and getting better every single day.
Absolutely.
Every day they start off practice with a word of encouragement to each other and a prayer. And that sets the tone for every single practice throughout the season.
And I want to talk a little bit about this because I put my little line. It looks like we're good, Coach. Talk about good.
Yes. So good. The good is it's a combination. It's become our theme, but it's a combination from a couple of different things that we've come across. One is a podcast from a Navy SEAL named Jocko Willett, and he has a whole segment about the word good. And when he was a SEAL team leader, guys would bring him a problem, and his response was always good. Our equipment isn't working. Good. You can learn how to accomplish the mission without that piece of equipment. And we use it on the basketball court in the same way with the girls. Maybe they're disappointed they're not getting enough playing time. Well, good. You know what this feels like. You know what you need to work on to become to get to that next level, to increase your playing time or whatever. We lost the game because we missed free throws. Good. Now in practice you really need to focus on knocking that shot down. Then the second part of that word good really comes from Casey Rivers, our number 14 from a few years ago that passed away a couple of summers back. Her favorite Bible verse was Romans 8:28, and that's all things work together for good. And so it's just having that good also brings a piece of Casey with us every single day, and that means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Well, you taught me something tonight on that, and you brought a lot of good, including a lot of good. I'm enjoying this watching, and I'm just having a blast, and all is good, Coach. So the best to you in the playoffs, and to the Lady Cats. Good more time to Lady Cats. This is Coach Tim Stowe, and we wish him the best in the playoffs, and God bless you, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you.